Hello, I'm Cindy, and today I am going to do a review of Beverly Lewis's The Ebb Tide. Let me take a moment and pull up my screen so I can share it with you. Okay, there we go. By Beverly Lewis, was published 2017. This is a remarkable book. It really is. Um, I've always enjoyed Beverly Lewis. Also, I like other Amish authors as well. Um, it's slower. You can, I don't know, maybe breathe a little easier. Slow down. I said that. I mean, these are the books you don't read when you're rushed. Now, this book is perfect for that. Perfect for summer reading. And that's why I picked it. Even though it's been on my bookcase for a long time, I'm not sure when I first read it. I did have to review it, and I mean, get refamiliarize myself with it for this. It's a publication of Bethany House. This is probably the most um, atmospheric novel she's written. And it's a story that takes place at the New Jersey shore. It's in Cape May. Ms. Lewis trades her familiar Lancaster County fields for the salt air and openness of Cape May, New Jersey. And she's from New Jersey, so I think it's really sweet that she picked this book to come back home for. It's amazingly immersive, and it's a layered story about a young woman at the edge of her life in many senses of the word. The author has built her reputation in the rolling farmland of Lancaster County in Pennsylvania. So when she comes down to the Atlantic shoreline of Cape May, that's big stuff. And it pays off. Now, Sally Real, I'm going to spell that because it's SallieRiehl. She's 19, not quite 20, and she's the youngest of 10. She's always been restless, been one of those people that has kind of wanderlust, which, when you consider that she's being brought up Amish, very old order, it's not an easy life. She had been saving to go travel to Australia before committing to her life and her church community. And those plans changed. There was an unexpected opportunity. Um, a well to do English family asked her to spend the summer as their nanny to their daughter Autumn at their vacation home in Cape May. Her parents were reluctant, but they agreed if she promised to return home by summer's end and complete her baptism. Sally says yes. Now, I thought about the title, Ebb Tide. But as you read the story, you see the tide ebbing and flowing. There's a saying that the tide comes in, the tide goes out. It leaves what it will, and it takes what it will, because that's just the nature of the sea. In fact, it's probably the central metaphor of the entire book, and it's important to recognize that when the tide goes out, it doesn't leave nothingness or behind it. It doesn't leave emptiness. It reveals things. It could be the sand dollar, sea glass, um, the sandbar. Things that were always there and that you couldn't see them beneath the surface. And then when the pull of the water goes the other way, you see it. You can see those shells, the sand crabs, the hermit crab, the jellyfish. The ocean um, is like a representation of the secular world, the world of the English. It goes to the horizon in one direction, extends the other way, pretty much boundless. And these are the opportunities that are set before this young woman, although she doesn't know it yet. You have to understand that the Amish have this idea that Englishers can corrupt their lives. I suppose that could be true, but this family is not a family that will corrupt her. What they are just warm, lovely people with a very different lifestyle. So now she's introduced now to their modern conveniences, the phones, Google, all of the things that you and I would probably take for granted. And no summer story is complete without matters of the heart, and the ebb tide does not disappoint. In fact, there's something a very, very nuanced love triangle. In Paradise Township, which is her home, there lives a man named Perry Zook. He represents everything that's safe and good, community expectation, parental approval, a very predictable and honored future. He's good. He's a good guy. Um, he's not a fool. He's not a villain. He's not bad. There's nothing wrong with it, but there are no sparks. And Sally knows that. And then there is Kevin Kreider, Kreider, a marine biology student that she meets at the Cape May Whale Watch and Research Center. That's a mouthful. Where he works as an intern. Kevin is a progressive Mennonite, which means he understands the plain background, the faith, the communal values. He's not a stranger to that world, but he lives with a freedom that she does not. He talks openly about what he's learning in his faith, and he sees her as an equal. And that's vibrant in a way that time with Perry never could be. In addition to being a marine biologist, he is cast in the role of the romantic interest. And he is also someone who offers Sally a new way of seeing things. And that's kind of dangerous to her settled way of life, more so than any flashy temptation could ever be. And so the story unfolds. It's The story is immersive, character driven, content to let Sally stand at the shoreline and think at points, then and then Logan Autumn. Let me rephrase that. Autumn Logan goes missing. In an instant of just well, so fast. Sally's not an observer debating whether how well she likes one life or another. She's not a tourist. She's not a sheltered woman contemplating her future from somewhere safe. She is now the person responsible and who has to act decisively without a safety net. No Dot, no Dodd, no Mom. I didn't say that well. Those are the terms for Mom and Dad. No community to help her carry the weight of the decision. It's hers and hers alone. What rises in Sally in the moment is something she didn't know she possessed, a fierce maternal protective instinct that has nothing to do with where she was baptized or whether she chooses one life or the other. She just rises to the occasion and it strips away every layer of uncertainty. And when she finds Autumn, she finds herself. When she returns to Paradise Township, I keep wanting to say Paradise Lost. That's not the same thing. But she doesn't return as the same girl who left there. She goes home and talks to her parents from a position of strength, not just complicity. And they come to terms and let her live her life. Perry, to his credit, when he is faced with her choice, accepts it with grace and dignity. He's not bitter. Now, some people have observed that Sally's journey is slow. Some would say painfully slow. I don't see it that way. I see it as a slower burn, yes. It is a slower moving, introspective, atmospheric story. And it has to be told in a certain way so that it brings you in. When you write something that is very fast paced and that the reader chop, 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 keeps up, and there's always something doing, that's fine. But then you don't get to see the world that the character is in because you're too busy jumping from one point to another. I love this. This is great. As I said before, it's probably Beverly Lewis's most atmospheric story yet. The ending is somewhat bittersweet in the best way possible. One door closes, another opens. I would say that this is an excellent read that I highly recommend, especially in the summer months at the shore. Until next time.